Hey guys, on this spooky day, as you can see, we look a little different. Can you guys tell who this is? It's Leah, guys. Yay!
Hi.
Leah. She is here with me today because we are doing something a little different. I'm going to be doing her makeup, but we're going to be talking about some crazy spooky experiences.
Yeah.
It's like a makeup story time. So we're going to be, in the spirit of Halloween, we are going to be talking about some of our craziest psychic experiences. Me and her very, very, very much so believe in psychics and spirits and paranormal things and all that stuff. We've had a lot happen today.
Yes.
Ironically. So basically we're just going to be having a good time. I'm going to be glamming her. This is going to be like the first time.
Professionally,
Yeah. Oh shit. This is so
Like,
exciting.
she used to do it when we were little, but like...
Yeah, but that doesn't count,
that
does
doesn't
it?
count.
If you haven't seen the last video, it's basically like our little vlog on our hair transformation. So I'll link it somewhere on the screen. You guys can go check that out. Watch this video first because it's going to be a good one, and I think you guys will really like it. I think actually I should go grab my book. I have my psychic book ready to go. This has every single one of my psychic readings in it. I normally record my psychic readings and then I listen to them back and I take notes on what they say so that if I want to reference anything or take a look back and see if anything came true, I have it right at my fingertips.
Or if it crosses over from
Other
reading
psychics.
to another.
Yeah, it's super interesting. You'll see, we'll talk about it. There are some
things happen
crossovers.
multiple times.
A couple psychics who I went to all separate, don't know each other at all, different parts of the US.
Yeah.
And they've all kind of said the same thing. Single specific things though. So yeah. Okay, why does that keep happening?
Maybe.
See? Paranormal. It's not fake. It's real. I'm just going to go ahead and start prepping Leah's skin. Leah's going to be the first one to kind of talk about what she wants to talk about. I'm going to leave the floor to her and we can kind of like bounce off of each other if I find I have anything to talk about. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep her skin using the Fresh Floral Rose Toner. Did that sound weird, right? The Flesh?
No.
The flesh toner. Spooky.
Alright, Leah, the floor is your oyster. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
The floor is my oyster. Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, Tona.
Anyways,
Please.
it
So go
wants
ahead
to
and
go
talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I go to psychics, if I'm close to anyone...
Oh, by the way, I do have to mention what I'm putting on your face. So I just went ahead and I put on an Age Rewind moisturizer from Mary Kay. Continue. Oh, and now I'm going into the Catrice Prime and Fine Multi-Fixing Spray. Okay, now you can
Okay.
go, close your eyes. Imagine I have you
splash.
Well, let's try and go ahead and tell your story.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Harley interrupting me for 15 minutes.
I'm gonna go put the Clarence Paris lip. What's it called? A lip oil on her. Close your mouth, sweetie. What are you doing? Didn't your mother tell you to close your mouth? With another body part. You know what? You can use some more.
Don't be shy, put some more.
So back to the story.
I don't even remember what we're...
You started your story.
Yeah.
So you don't remember.
And then a lot of stuff happened. Maybe. Anyways, I'm an empath and sort of a vessel for other people, any messages that need to come through. So it doesn't necessarily mean like when I go in for a session that it's gonna be all about me. So I kind of get really weird readings because half the time I have no idea what anyone's saying because the names, family members, anything that comes through, it's not even
applied to
me or that I know about. But
I'll start right after I tell them what I'm going to put on your skin because I can't just sit here. I have to actually do our makeup.
I just wanted to get that.
I'm going to take a MAC Prep and Pine. Oh my god. Oh,
Prep and Pine.
The Prep and Pine. It's the new fall scent. The Prep and Prime Natural Radiant Base in Radiant Yellow. and I'm gonna mix it in with a foundation match of Bone from Estee Lauder's Double Wear. I'm gonna mix them together to create more of like a demi-matte finish on her skin.
Bone sounds more
About
like my
right.
skin.
Also, spooky season. You can go ahead and talk about the medium.
So basically, we went to get a cleansing from a Reiki master. And she's also a psychic medium. On my way out from my session, she was actually just like changing the bed. And she was like, oh, like I normally don't do this in front of clients, but I feel like you and Carly are just really close.
Because I had my session right after
she had
hers.
hers right after mine. And I was like, oh yeah, no, you're fine. Like, we're literally like sisters. And I was like, actually, I feel like we're soulmates because we've done so many things in our lifetime. And we were like supposed to meet at certain times and didn't. Like,
Yeah.
we've done so many things at the same places, but just like miss each other so close in time.
Yeah, we just like kept crossing each other's
paths.
paths, but we never exchanged numbers
Yeah.
or talked, or like it was just like super weird.
Yeah.
We were on the
We've
same
done
cheerleading
tennis,
team.
cheerleading, dance, we've done
All these things.
but just at the wrong timings, and we always crossed paths but never really got to each other. So when Carly went in for her session, she actually wanted to know, like, she was curious about that, the lady.
Yeah, she was
And-
like, well, what is going on?
Yeah, she wanted to know more, and she actually like asked her spirit guides, and we found out that we've been together.
However many past lives we've had.
Like,
We've never missed a past life. with each other.
Since the Civil War, actually. We were both soldiers.
This is what she's telling us.
yes.
This is just what she's telling us.
And I got injured, we don't know how. Me and Carly, best of friends. Maybe more, we don't know. Basically, I was injured and she was by my bedside, like literally every single day. And I was not getting better, unfortunately.
In this past life. During
life.
the war. She basically said that I told her this is not the end.
Yeah.
And that I will see her again.
Yeah.
That was her words to me.
You guys were buddies during wartime. You, at that time, you were both men. You were fighting, like war was happening. She, as him, became injured and actually perished there. And so you lived on, and you guys were sort of saying, like, okay, I'll see you next time. Like, you sort of knew that you guys were comrades and then you were going to see each other some more. And I said, but was this the... So I felt like that was sort of the first time, although that's probably not the first. I couldn't tell when it was.
I'm going in with Sephora and Pantone University concealer palette.
So basically, since then, she promised my soul that we'd be together forever. So we're soulmates, and
That's the point here.
yeah, that's the point, is that we're soulmates. We knew that, but it was good to get confirmation, you know?
And we also, like, we never thought there'd be an actual story on how.
No, literally. So while we were at the cleansing, it was my first time, so I had to fill out paperwork, and I put that I have a lot of trouble with my throat. When I was a baby, I was born with a collapsed lung. So I had a bunch of tubes down my throat for 2, almost 3 weeks. So like I thought that it was just like my body holding trauma there. So when I went into the cleansing, she was like asking me about my throat. She literally like grabbed her throat, and she like kind of like went up against the wall. And like it looked like someone was kind of choking her. She just kept going, ooh, okay, all right. She was like, oh no, it was definitely past life, and it was definitely either strangulation or hanging. So I was like, oh great, now I have to relax on this bed.
And pretend like you weren't hung in a past life.
No, or strangled to death. You know,
Normal things.
normal things. So yeah. So basically, she was able to.
I don't want to keep interrupting
No,
you.
you're fine.
I'm going to use the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro for the brows. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about my crazy experience because mine is like no other. And oddly enough, Leah's a part of it.
Yes, I am.
Don't
Very
ask
much
how.
so.
Don't ask how. She's just a vessel. That's all I gotta say.
I'll start it and then
I'll
you
finish
can-
it off.
I was in the middle of a reading
In Florida.
in Florida.
I'm here in New York. The
The psychic asked me who's Anthony? I was like, my best friend's dad's name is Anthony.
I'm going to set her with Kat Von D powder.
So her dad came through in the...
Which my dad's not dead, by the way.
Yeah, my
that's
dad's alive.
important.
Yeah, and then it was just a lot of questions about your dad. A lot of questions. My psychic asked me about a fire. I don't know her dad that well, so I didn't know anything.
If he had, Kat Von D.
Basically.
It was after Leah told me that, we tried to figure it out.
This was back in
last year.
December, I believe.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
December
in
of 2018.
Yeah, December 2018.
So I was trying to figure it out with my dad. I was like, Dad, did you ever were you ever in a fire? Like, what is he talking about? Because obviously there's a reason why this guy is talking about it, you know? And we came to the conclusion that it was possibly about a certain situation that my dad was in years ago, but it also just didn't add up the right way. It didn't not add up, but it didn't fully add up. It didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So, it didn't feel right. I think that's what it was. It didn't feel right. So, January of last year, my father calls my mother in the middle of the night. She's screaming, and my father had been in a fire. His entire house burned down. It was completely random, super unexpected. We didn't even know what caused the fire. And we knew it had to do with either a heater or an outlet, something faulty.
Well, we had just gotten off. We were FaceTiming for hours, by the way.
Yeah, before.
And we had just gotten off, and I was going to bed. Literally, we were both in bed.
Yeah.
And, not even 20 minutes later. And I was just like, no, there's something. And she was crying and hysterical. I was like, what the hell's going on? But also, holy shit. But then she was like, no, Leah, you're not getting it.
Because I was like, my dad was in a fire. And she's like, oh my God, because my dad was in a fire. But I was like, no, you're not understanding.
Yeah.
That's not why obviously I was upset, but that's not why I'm freaking out right now.
Yeah.
Your psychic literally predicted this would happen. Because my dad had a house fire, he lost everything. So my dad moved in here. When she was getting her psychic reading done, he had mentioned, he's like, well, what's the significance of the number 6?
Yeah.
Right after talking about my dad and the fire. And Leah was like, I don't know. And so my dad did not move out of my house until June, which is the 6th month. And we didn't put that together until it happened.
Yeah.
We were like, holy shit, he moved out in June.
Yeah.
And that's what 6 meant. Because also, he mentioned 3, too.
Yeah.
He mentioned 3. He was like, what's 3 about? My dad was supposed to move out in March.
Yeah.
The fire was in January, and his move-out date was March. And it got pushed and pushed and pushed until the 6th month. So it was really weird. We literally we had the 3 and we had the 6, and that's what it was.
The month of June is important to Tony, which is the number 6. That seems to be important. Then I'm sorry there. And what's the deal with the fire?
Super crazy.
Really crazy.
That's the most craziest one I think.
Yeah.
So while I go ahead and apply blush, which I'm using Tarte's Blush Bazaar, I'm going to talk about something that I went through with 2 different psychics. So I also had seen the guy that she saw while in Florida. I ended up seeing someone else here very recently. And when I was writing things down in my book, like I had said before, I had noticed a lot of similarities that, maybe I wouldn't have noticed unless I did write them down. And one of them was, both of them had mentioned the word rose. They both said that there was going to be some kind of significance with that word. They were like, it's either an actual rose or it's a word. Now, I can assure you, I'm still confused. I'm still not sure if it is what I was thinking of. I'm just not sure. And I had saw the guy from Florida, he was first. And he originally said it to me months before I came to the realization on maybe it's this. I was thinking of naming my children either something with rose in it. because I thought it was so pretty. I ended up calling you.
Yeah,
and
you
I was like,
me.
oh my God, Leah, like I think I know what I'm gonna name my girls when I have children. And she's like, well, what? And I was like, what about blah 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 or something with Rose? She was like, oh my God, Carly. And I was like, what? She's like, he literally said that you were gonna be connected to Rose.
Yeah.
Like, he literally said Rose, it has significance to you.
She started crying.
Yeah, because I was like, what if it's the name of my kid? And then when I went to the one here 2 years later, she literally said, Rose, what is the significance of Rose to you? And I was like, oh my God, this has to be my child's name then.
Tell me about the word rose. Why does that seem to be significant? Rose could be an actual flower, or it could be rosemary, Roseanne, rose, whatever. But this seems to be significant as well. So, I want you to remember this. This is kind of important.
I might encounter something else along the way that maybe it was the significance of Rose. What if like my husband's, lives on Rose, like on a road, like Rose Court or something?
Yeah.
Like there's so many different real possibilities that it could be. But I still think that's really crazy. And then also she said that it can either mean a name or a birthday or some kind of anniversary. And right after this reading, the week later was one of my best friends, Catherine's birthday, and her middle name is Rose. And one of my best friend's birthday, who's like next in line, her middle name is Rose, Jacqueline. Jacqueline's middle name is Rose, and I was like, holy shit, so it's Catherine Rose, her birthday next week, and then 2 months from now, my next best friend's birthday, Jacqueline, her middle name is Rose. I'm like, maybe she was seeing like the upcoming birthdays.
But let me ask you something. What's with, okay, so she shows me roses, all right? So roses, does it have a meaning?
I
With the name Rose?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, it has a dual meaning for me, okay? Because also means for me anniversary or birthday for someone who's past or present. Mm-hmm. It's coming up, she tells me. It's coming, what's end of August, September?
Which could be a possibility too.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool. Really cool to think about. Can you tell I like blush? Mm-hmm. I just want to keep applying it and applying it and applying it. Another thing that I can talk about was when I went to see the same Reiki girl that we were talking about earlier. At the end of my meeting? What?
Yes.
Oh yes, we're there for a conference. We have some business to take care of. So at the end of our session, I'm going to start doing her eyeshadow while I talk about this, but I'm going to use the gingerbread palette from Too Faced. Super excited. And I'm also, for glitter, I may or may not go in with Midnight Cowboy from Urban, but I know for a fact I'm going to go in with Natasha Denona's Chroma Crystal Liquid Eyeshadow in the shade Zone. I'm going to prime her lids with Shadow Insurance from Too Faced. As I was saying, she said that a butterfly flew in, and she's like, originally she said, did your mother's mom pass away? Like your grandmother, did she pass? And I was like, yes. And then she goes, oh, okay, see, that makes sense, because all of a sudden she goes, do you have a correlation with like butterflies, like one butterfly or something? And I was like, yes. I was like, I always say that this butterfly that is always around me, one singular white butterfly, is my grandma. And she's like, well, I saw a butterfly fly in to the room while you were getting your session done. And I was like, no freaking way. And she was like, just know that that butterfly is your grandma. And she was trying to like heal you while you were here, because that's what Reiki is. It's healing. And the best part is, she goes, what's with the tattoo? And I'm like, oh my God, because I've always wanted a butterfly tattoo for my grandmother. And then I had 3 locations. I either wanted it on the back of my ear, on the back of my neck, or on my wrist. But so we were speaking with my grandmother through the spirit board. Not a Ouija board, a spirit board.
Ouija board.
We don't do Ouija boards.
We don't do Ouija boards. We do not condone them.
We actually use, it's called an angelic guardian board. I was trying to make sure that the spirit was really her. So I asked her a question that no one else would know.
And in her head. I didn't even
in my
know
head.
it.
She didn't even hear
I didn't
it.
even know what the question was.
I said it in my head, and I was like, in my head, I said, where should I get this tattoo? for you. And she spelled out wrist. And I was like, holy shit, because when I spoke with the Reiki girl, I only told her behind my ear or in the back of my neck. I didn't bring up that I was thinking of my wrist either. The woman that I saw here that confirmed the whole roses thing, she was having a conversation with me, and she's a medium / psychic, and she basically was trying to tell me that my grandmother was speaking with her. My grandfather was speaking with her. And now I didn't really know my grandfather. He passed way before I was born. But my mom had a very good relationship with my grandpa. She was like, your grandpa keeps saying favorite car. And I'm like, favorite car? Like, I don't know what that means. And so she's like, do you have a favorite car? And I was like, well, I just bought like my dream car like a month ago. And she's like, oh, like nice. Like, what kind of car is it? And I was like, oh, it's a Chevy Sonic 2020. And she's like, oh, wow, congratulations. Just know your grandfather's acknowledging that, you know? And I was like, okay, that's weird.
Do you know anything about a car with him? Like, do you have, like, a favorite car?
I have a favorite car.
You have a favorite car?
But I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's, like, a favorite car that you want? Because he's talking to me about a favorite car, so you have a favorite car.
Yeah, I do have one. I just got it.
Oh, wonderful. You see? So that's your favorite. So, because he's talking to me about a favorite car. So he's acknowledging that you just got your favorite car.
So I went home and I asked my mom, and I said, Mom, what was Grandpa's favorite car? And she goes, oh, well, Grandpa loved Chevys. He only ever drove Chevys. He owned like 4 cars in his life, and every single car was a Chevy. And my car is a Chevy. So it was like super weird. It's like, why else would he be saying that? You know, it only makes sense that he only ever drove Chevys and he loved Chevys.
And then Mimi's always with you in the passenger seat, so.
Yeah, she also told me that my grandmother is always with me in my passenger seat. And only a week before that, it was my birthday, and my mother had gotten me this angel to hang on my mirror. You know, and she's like, this is so that Mimi's always with you in your car. And then this lady's like, just know your grandma's like in your car. She's like in your passenger seat. She's watching over you while you drive. So then that same psychic goes on and starts talking about something else that is so freaking weird. And if this doesn't confirm something, then I don't know what does. She goes, well, I'm just seeing like, does your mom like make meat sauce? And I was like, huh? Meat sauce? She cooks regular sauce, but she doesn't ever cook like a meat sauce. So I was super confused. She's like, did she like just make it? Did she just make sauce? And I was like, no. Like my mom actually hadn't made sauce in months, probably like 3 or 4 months.
Did she make sauce? Because I'm seeing it.
My mom makes sauce.
Your mom also does something with a meat sauce.
Meat sauce?
I mean, I wonder, did your mom just make it?
Not recently. So my session with the lady is over now. I'm telling Leah, I'm like, all right, because I went to her house for the psychic. And I was like, okay, I've got to figure out what I got to do for dinner tonight before I go back home. So I called my mom. I'm like, hey, Mom, like, do I need to worry about myself for dinner tonight? And she goes, no, I made a meat sauce. And I'm like, what do you mean you made a meat sauce? And she's like, I made meat sauce with pasta. And I was like, you don't make meat sauce. Why'd you make a meat sauce? I was like questioning her. Yeah. She was literally making it while we were having the session. And I had no idea.
Okay, so I just thought of this now. So going back to what I was talking about earlier, when me and Carly were both in the Civil War together. It was so weird how she said, like, that Carly was by my side.
This was, like, the weirdest part of it all.
Because I have a rare disorder in my hands and feet, and when I was 13, I was hospitalized for it for a couple months. And, you know, when you're 13, 12, like, you don't really understand what's going on, and you don't really understand, like, the weight of everything, especially, like, an illness. For me and my friends, it was like harder for them to really grasp the reality of everything.
Right, and like, you know, it also stems with anxiety and dealing with a lot of things that when you're in 7th or 8th grade, kids don't understand. Yeah. Whereas I was able to kind of understand her. Yeah. Unlike a lot of other people.
Yeah. Like a lot of my friends just didn't
know how to react almost.
Really, it was harder for them to
be there for her.
Be there for me. But when I was in the hospital, Carly and her mom came, and she was always by my bedside, and she was the only person that ever came and actually treated me like a friend and like was talking to me like it was a normal day and that like nothing ever happened, that, you know, I was fine. And like she would talk about what we would do when I would get out, what was going on in school, like literally everything that like no one else had ever done. But like she just came in there and was like, what are we doing? What's the next move? Like, and would just comfort me and visit me and acted as if nothing had ever happened. So I think that really like
emulates the idea of what happened back then. Alrighty guys, so right now I went off camera and I finished Leah's eyes. We put mascara on her, and obviously I finished up that little wing. The last couple things I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in with highlighter. I'm going to take the Resi, and I did put this in her inner corners, but I'm going to take it and put it right on the top of her cheekbones. So I'm trying to think of like any last...
We have a lot more to talk about if we talk about the board.
Yeah, we have a lot of stories on the spirit board, but you know, we didn't want to overwhelm the video today. You know? Now I'm going to take my Anastasia lip kit and go ahead and mix number 3 and 4 together. None of us can talk right now because I'm too concentrated.
Yeah.
And I'm doing your lipstick. Yes, that is what I wanted. Oh my god, it looks so good. Last thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and spray her face with some setting spray. Yay, Leah's done! So here we are at the end of the video. Everything that we covered was pretty wild, and I hope you guys enjoyed those kind of crazy stories. Again, we're total believers in it. Leah, what do you think of your makeup?
I love it.
Do you really? Do you really love it?
Yeah.
Cue montage. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to leave a comment on any video suggestions you have for us or me. So I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!